I got that here, for example, this is the main keyword with the target URL and another keywords which are relevant to the main keyword. And if I put inside as context, only English is supported or doesn't matter? Or it's not necessary to put a span text inside?
Well, it's up to you. It's optional to use. Spintax is optional, but English or any other language doesn't matter when you're using spintax. Spintax is just a format that uses, brackets, and then it splits the brackets. And spintax is just a format that will choose different, every time it will randomly choose from the format, like different sentences or different phrases. That's it. And then Staxio will choose different words or phrases from the spintax format. That's it. It's not, language is not is irrelevant when we talk.
It doesn't matter the language. Whatever you put, it will show you.
You can talk Japanese, Chinese, whatever. It's not, doesn't matter.
Okay, next question. How you choose which one to turn on and which one not to turn on? Or it doesn't matter every time you turn on everything?
It depends. So for example, QR, let's talk about each option on the control panel then. QR codes, you know what QR codes are, right? It's what you see inside Google Sheets. They are created by default. And when you enable QR codes from the control panel, they will also get created inside Google Docs, for example. Inside the other Google properties, whenever we are able to add a QR code into a Google property. That's what this option does. Unsplash and YouTube images, what it does is it will add images to, it will search for images based off the keywords, your top keyword and then your secondary keywords. It will look for images based on the keywords, and then it will add the images that it finds on Unsplash and YouTube into your Google properties. So if you want to add the images to your Google properties, you select these options in the control panel. And then bit.ly is a URL shortener. So if you want to add URL shorten links, which help with, they help with a bunch of stuff. They help with indexing. They help with adding a little bit of authority to your properties as well, because it's like an additional backlink. It's an additional link that you are creating going into your stacks coming from bit.ly. Okay. Then you enable this property. Google Calendar is the same thing. So Google Calendar, I highly recommend you always using Google Calendar because it's a Google property and it's very powerful, and it interlinks, it heavily interlinks your Google properties. Because what Staxio does, it creates calendar events with the links, with a bunch of different calendar events and different links on each event. Okay, to your Google property. So it creates, the stack gets more interlinked, and it gives more power to your Google stack by creating these links on Google Calendar, and they repeat. Like every day, there will be different events repeating on the calendar, going back to your Google stack. So I highly recommend you always using the Google Calendar control panel. And YouTube videos is when you would like to add YouTube videos relevant to your keywords. So the same thing with the images, Staxio will search YouTube for videos for the keywords that you have added, like the secondary keywords and your top main keyword. Staxio will go on YouTube, search for the for videos, and we'll take the first video that it finds from the search, and then it will add that to your Google properties. And Google Slides is Staxio creates Google Slides, which I also highly recommend you have when you do your Google Stack builds. So the ones that I usually select almost all the time is Google Slides, Google Calendar, Bitly, and QR codes. For me, those are the 4 most important ones that I usually always select when I'm doing my Google Stack builds. And then depending on the project, if I need images or videos, then I will select or unselect based off the things that I need to add to the project. But QR codes, Google Slides, Google Calendar, and Bitly, I always have selected.
I see. Okay, thank you. And for example, when everything is ready, what are you thinking for indexing? For example, if you use outside service for indexing, which file and which URL you're sending to indexing? This one or the whole folder?
Well, I will let you. If you search for, I think indexing. If you on our private we have answered this question already multiple times. I think it's already pinned on our on the indexing. There is a hashtag topics section. Maybe I'll show you. I'm not sure if you know, but maybe I'll show you. Can you go on our Facebook private mastermind?
If you want, I can stop share my screen because I don't have any more to show you. So I would like to see your screen. It's not a problem.
Sure, I can show you.
Okay, now.
Okay. Sure, I will show you. Give me 1 second. Let me pull up our private mastermind. 1 second. So, oops. Okay. Let me share my screen. What happened? Okay, share screen. I'm gonna share my screen. Let me know if you can see my desktop.
Yeah, I see. Yeah.
All right. So I'm on our private mastermind. Now, if you come here, you see the topics in this group. So we can click on select all. And then we have, this is a grouping by hashtag of posts from our master. So if I come on the indexing, I see we have 10 posts about indexing, right? So let's see if I can, so one about QR codes. Let's see if I can find the one where we talked about, there's one about Yandex, where we talked about where to, your question was about the which links
Which URL?
to index, right, from the stack?
Yes.
Okay, so let's see if we can find out. If not, then we'll talk about it too a little bit. I think this is a good one. Let me zoom in a little bit. Okay, let's see if we talked about this.
Because I saw something like a course on your website for pre-made shared folder. You can do it for clients, or you can learn by yourself how to do it.
Okay, so here is the list of things that I worry about when I want to get things that I want to get indexed first. All right, so the first thing that I want to get indexed first is the Google site. That is my top priority. Okay, I want that to be, because for me, that is at the moment the most powerful Google property we have at our disposal. That is our biggest weapon, is the Google site. Next is the Blogger site that I want to get indexed. That's the second, property that I want to see indexed after the Google site, and then Google Cloud, if you're using Google Cloud, and then everything else. And usually, after the blog, if I'm not using Google Cloud, the next thing that I like to see indexed is the Google Sheet, because the Google Sheet has all the links from my Google Stack.
Yeah.
So that is something very important that I like to have indexed too.
And which URL you're sending for index? You take, for example, share a link, and it's a public, and everybody with the link, and you're using this link.
Okay, so I used the public HTML is hard to get indexed. Usually what you see is just the regular Google Sheet, the regular Google Sheet index. So, for example, let's see if I can show you an example. Let me open up another. Give me a second. I'm going into my Google Drive and then see if I can find a Google Sheet example that I can show you. Just give me a second. All right, so maybe this is a good one, or if not, All right, let me drag this into here. Let's see. All right, folder PDFs, photo spreadsheet. Right, so see this link? This is the link.
Yes.
Which is a bit different. So this is the same Google Sheet, but notice that it has, I'm editing the Google Sheet, so it has a different format here at the end. There is also the pub HTML that you can try and index, which Staxio also creates for you. But this is, my experience is that this is much harder. I don't see a lot of these type of URL formats for Google Sheets being indexed that much. It's much easier, and I see this much more often on the SERPs is this format getting indexed. Okay, so this is what I would recommend you focus on. This is what I do.
Yeah, I got it. Yes,
I have used external tools, like, for example, Omega Indexer. I have used to try and index properties, and when I do this link and then the pub HTML link, this one always gets indexed first, and this one sometimes doesn't even get indexed at all.
Okay,
so this is the
something
one
else
you should go after.
Spreadsheet and spreadsheet public HTML, and that's all. Only these two.
Well, yeah, well, there's everything else, right, in the stack. Oh, there's all the links in the stack that you can worry about indexing. And this stack, for example, has, well, if we take out the YouTube, it's like 48. But like I said, here, like these are the ones that after that, I don't like, and the Google Sheet, I don't worry about I don't worry about having all the links from the stack indexed. No, I don't do that. Some people do. That's not what I do.
Yeah, it's a little bit crazy and a lot of time and effort.
Nah, you don't need that. You don't need that. It's not something I worry about.
I see. And what's the working schema now? For example, yesterday I saw a video a year ago. It's still working. You have a money site. Below you have, for example, Google site, and below you have blogger site, and all these are going from the bottom to the top, and you have a Staxio cloud, for example, to the Google side, and also a Stack cloud to the Blogger side. I mean, is it working schema now, or it's something more interesting? there is something more interesting like a schema.
What?
I
I'm not
mean,
sure I understood.
yeah, I mean what you're using now, what is working now like schema. For example, you're building one G stack, for example, for one keyword to the money site or to the G site, or you're making different G stacks to different pages from our website.
So let me see if I understood the question. You're asking if I create multiple stacks for the same G site? Is that the question?
No, if you open from yesterday, there was a video.
From yesterday on
Yeah,
our
on the group, yeah.
Okay, let me take a look. 1 second. There is a video. Okay, 1 second.
Yeah.
Was it this one? No.
No.
You mean I think I know this one.
This one, yes. And yeah, you can see a small part from the schema. It ends with the money side. If you play it, maybe somewhere in the middle.
Oh, sorry.
No
Just
problem.
played the video. I'm sorry.
Yeah, maybe somewhere in the middle.
Somewhere in the middle.
Yeah,
okay,
about the exactly this schema. Yes, you can go forward. It will show the whole schema.
Okay, 1 second.
Yeah, that was my question. So, for example, this schema is it working now? Should I make it like this?
Well, it depends. This is a working schema. Yes, this is a working how do you say, strategy. I would call this a strategy. I call these strategies. This was a strategy. Like Raul and I talked about this like I think 2 years ago or more, and his approach is basically so. So let's start here from the bottom, right? This is everything we recommend. This is everything we recommend people do as a basic strategy. So we build our Google stack, right? We build a Google stack with all the Google properties, and then what we do next is we publish all those Google stacks on the Blogger site, right? And then the Blogger site is linking to the Google site. So we publish like everything from also the Blogger site linking to the Google sites, right? We will link the Blogger site to our Google site, right? And then the Google site links to our money site. The only difference here is that Raul also creates an additional Google stack linking to the Google site. So our first Google stack will link to the Blogger. So the Blogger is our target URL, right? When we create the Google stack, the target URL we have on the planner is Blogger. And then
you're making some posts in Blogger.
Right. So when you go on the Blogger Builder, you give the Blogger Builder the Google Sheet ID, and then it will create multiple posts or pages on Blogger for this Google stack. And then the target URL on Blogger is going to be the Google site.
Yeah.
Right?
May I ask you to show me the first and second step on live now in Staxio?
Sure. I think so. But let me then finish so that you also understand like how this is all working.
Okay.
Because after we build so this is the planner, this is the Blogger Builder, and then we have HTML from the planner, and then we also create a Google site, right? So we have these three tiers built. We have the Google stack built, we have the Blogger, and then we have the Google site built with the HTML files, right? Then after this is all built, what Raul is doing is he goes on the planner again. He goes on the planner and then he creates another Google stack, but the target URL instead of being the blogger, is the Google site.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So he's powering up the Google site with an additional Google stack, which is amazing, which is really good.
The tier one.
Yes, so this is like a tier one for the Google site, because this is like tier 3, tier 2,
for blog.
or well, without let's imagine that we don't have the money site. So this is our target site. So this is tier 1, right?
Yes,
so
yes.
tier 1 we have one Google stack and we have one blogger site. This is tier 1 for the Google site. And then at tier 2, we have another Google stack, right? But since the Google site is now linking to our money site, our Google site is tier 1 from the money site. So this is tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. And our tier 1 is being powered up by one Google stack and one Blogger site, which has another Google stack embedded on tier 3. Tier 3, tier 2, tier 1, money site. So tier 1 is here, and tier 2 we have the Blogger and one Google stack. So you want me to, let's take a look at how this works on Staxio, right?
Yes.
So let me show you a little bit. Just give me a second while I pull up I'm opening a window of Staxio. Just give me a second. Okay, let's go and take a look at how this looks. All right, so let's assume that we are here, right?
Yes.
Say we are here, we are going to build a Google stack here. So I go on the planner, right? I'm going to disable the code. I'm going to go on the planner and I'm going to build a Google stack, right? So I'm going to say that this is an example. So this is just an example. Now, from here, I'm going to link to my Blogger site, right? So my Blogger site is going to be https something, blogger.com, like this is an example, blogger.com. So now the Google stack is linking to my Blogger.
Yes.
Make sense?
Absolutely.
Okay, so now I've created a Google stack that links to Blogger, right? This is how we do it. So it doesn't matter, I'm not going to do any of this, then I would come here and click build, right?
Yes, okay.
Now let's say that, for example, this here was the Google stack that I created. This Google stack, right?
Yes,
Just imagine. So I would come here, I would copy the Google Sheet. To copy the Google Sheet, you just click on this button, copy. Now I'm going to go into the Blogger sites builder here. So let's wait a little bit. Blogger sites. All right. So let's say that this is the Blogger site that I have here. So now I want to publish my Google stack to my Blogger site. So I select my Blogger site. This is my Blogger site. I select it, and I select the stacks publisher. All right. I want to add posts. All right. I want to create posts, and now I'm going to paste my Google Sheet ID. And my target URL is going to be a Google site, right? So what I do is I type in sites.google.com/view, and then whatever, this is an example. And this is how I link. I do two things. I publish my Google stack on Blogger with the Blogger, the publisher, with the stacks publisher. And I also link to my Google site here. So this is we are here on this step.
Yes.
And once I have that, I can come. So let's say that I insert all the information that I need to, the labels, the JSON, whatever, the embeds, and then I publish. So I have the Blogger site now here created with my posts. Now I can come here on the planner and I want to create the HTML that I want to add to my Google site. And we do that on the planner. So the planner, I come to the HTML builder, right? And so this is the Google stack that we created. Let's imagine that this was the Google stack that we had created. This Google stack here.
Yes.
I select the Google stack. I select the HTML builder. And now my target URL is going to be my money site. So I tell the HTML builder that this is an example.com is my money site. And now I'm going to create the HTML and I'm going to add, like you already did on the Google sites that you showed me in the beginning of the call. And I'm going to link the HTML that I'm going to publish on the Google site to my money site by doing this. This is where I add the link to the money site and then the rest of the information that I need to, and then build my HTML.
And do you use JSON Schema or doesn't matter?
Yes, I use JSON Schema. I do. Whenever on every chance I have that I have to add schema, I add it. You can take a look at the topic about schema. There is a topic here that you can take a look at, schema, where there are tools. There are many tools that we have shared.
I always use topical relevance. It's interesting, so it makes a good schema.
Yeah, no, that's good. Exactly, that's a good strategy.
The idea is that in topical relevance, you have two fields, and the first field is the target URL. The second field is the title. And for example, at the last step, which URL you insert in the schema, the money site or the Google site? For example, on this step now, we're on Google site. For example, here when you put the schema, it will be inside the Google site like URL or the money site like URL.
Oh, I'm not sure I understand the question. Are you asking if when I create the HTML, like which link do I use? Do I use this link or do I use the Google site link? Is that what you're?
Or when you create this, for example, in topical relevance, when you create a schema, it asks for URL and for headline. And for example, on this step, which URL you insert? The money site URL or the Google site URL?
They are related. They are connected. You can, if you are using the money site, if you are using a money site, so this schema here is going to be published on the HTML, and the HTML is going to go. The HTML is going to go inside your Google site. Right? The schema that you add here is going to show up. It's going to be created inside the HTML, but you're taking the HTML and it's going inside your Google site, right? So the schema is going to be primarily about the Google site, not this link.
Not the money site.
Not the money site, the Google site.
So should show the resource where you're uploading. For example, if it is Blogger, should include the Blogger URL. If it is Google site, should include the Google site URL.
Exactly. You can. There is an attribute. If I'm not, it's called the same as. If I'm not mistaken.
Yes. There is.
Right. That's where you can say that, okay, the Google site, you can use the same as, and then include your money site URL and the other, like the blogger also, for example. Right? Makes sense?
Makes sense, absolutely.
Okay.
Okay, something else. I don't think. Articles. Only in English, it scrapes the article.
When you mean here from the planner, right? You mean from here, from the news API, right?
No, on the left in the menu, on scrapers. Articles.
Yeah, that is only English, yes. Yes.
Only in English, okay.